Well, hey guys, Jonathan Doyle with you once again. Welcome back, my good friend, to the daily message. Love having you guys here. Please make sure you've subscribed. Would you do that for me? Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. It does help. And under here is a whole bunch of links to free stuff. You can find out how to book me to speak. You can get free access to my book, Bridging the Gap. So go check out these show notes later on. And if you like what you hear today and or you want me to cover a particular topic, please leave something in the comments. Leave something in the comments. All right, let's rip in. I'm excited today. Today is rest day. It is a Sunday in the studio. Been to church and feeling good about the world. It's not quite as cold as it's been the last few days, but enjoying a rest day, right? Enjoying a day of not hammering myself out there. But we're going to talk about three things today. We're going to talk about movement, radiating positivity, and then we're going to go deep on this, which is a really cool new translation of the Meditations of Emperor Marcus Aurelius. We're going to get into that in just a minute. All right, I'm on a quest. I'm on a quest to keep the daily videos shorter because, crucially, the podcast version is where I go long. So I'm trying to keep the videos nice and punchy because YouTube's a different kind of medium. But if you want to go deeper with anything I've talked about today, go and check out the podcast version underneath here. Now, movement. Just want to say that it's a big part of my message and ministry and encouragement to people is just to this conviction that moving matters, that whether you're walking to the letterbox, whether you're running ultra marathons like I've been doing, keep moving. I'm just on this at the moment. I think it's an important thing to be constantly thinking about. You want to get out of low moods. You want to get more clarity. You want to be healthier and live longer so you can love people for longer. Keep moving, my friend. I just want to say that. We're a sedentary civilization, so keep moving. Join that gym. Go for that extra walk. If you're walking already, do an extra few hundred meters, whatever it takes. I just want to encourage you all with that. Second thing, radiating positivity. Sounds like an Oprah, Instagram, Pinterest quote. I was up early this morning and I had to race down to the petrol station for my American friends, the gas station. And I was in a really good mood. I don't know why. I think it was because it was slightly less freezing than usual. I felt good about the world. Filled up the car, went in there, and there's the guy who's been doing the night shift. And normally these guys are pretty surly. And I just felt really happy. And I kind of just putting out the vibe. And he just was a different cat. And he was like very conversational. And we had a nice conversation, which was often these guys are just like, whatever, swipe your card, out you go. And then as I walked out, there's this big guy, and he's like some kind of working class guy. You could tell he'd seen a fair bit of life. And he just, normally, you're in Australia, you kind of just, look at each other, you keep walking. It's like a New York subway. I kind of just felt so positive. I looked it up at him and kind of nodded and said good morning, and he did too. And it was like, he was kind of shocked. He was like, why is somebody so happy at this time of day? So as I got in the car, I just thought I wanted to say to you all, none of us do this perfectly. We have up days and down days. But the decision, the choice to radiate as best as you can, as much as it depends upon you, a positive regard and acceptance of people. Just being in a good state. You tend to, it's like a reflection thing. You put it out, it seems to come back. It's not some new age phenomenon. It's just like, Jesus said, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. So you want people to be friendly to you, then put the vibe out there first. This is not deep philosophy. This is not some cosmic altering insight. It's just an experience that I wanted to share with you. Now, today, I started on another journey with Marcus Aurelius, 1st century Roman emperor, who wrote the Meditations, one of the great progenitors of Stoic philosophy. I'm convinced, I'm passionate about this stuff because I think it's part of a long tradition of amazing men and women who from almost prehistory have thought deeply about life and have left us with a great legacy of how to live well, how to live deliberately and consciously. So in the first part of the Meditations, what we find is Marcus Aurelius is simply thinking about the people that have influenced his life. And he goes to his parents, his grandparents, and he just jots down. And this is literally what Marcus Aurelius did. He would be, traveling or on, campaigns with the Roman military as emperor. He was the emperor, and he would just jot down little insights. And that leaves us with the meditations. And we're pretty convinced that he had no thought that they would ever be read by anybody. And sorry, Marcus, we got the lot, brother, and it's right here. But let me read you this. Paragraph 7, he's just putting down a few things that he learns from different friends. And this is what he learned from a friend of his called Rusticus, who firstly I think has a very cool name. And you can just kind of see him in a Roman bar in the first century. He's like, hey, how you doing? I'm Rusticus. That's just a great name. Anyway, I digress. So here is Rusticus, what he learned from Rusticus. Marcus Aurelius says this, one sentence: the recognition that I needed to train and discipline my character. The recognition that I needed to train and discipline my character. I think we live in a culture that is incredibly fragmented in terms of our attention and our focus. It is a consumption-oriented culture. It is a pleasure-oriented culture. So the Homo economicus model requires us all to consume and consume, keep us distracted, keep us busy, keep us exhausted. We don't think about the great purposes and meanings and depth of life. We don't think about the fact that our life is a project. It is a participation. It is in Latin particeps creatoris, being co-creators with God in our own purposes and destiny, and trying to participate and cooperate with what God has for us and what we're supposed to do here in this great, big, expansive, beautiful cosmos and world. So what I want you to understand in this short message is an amazing life, a life of contribution, purpose, significance, meaning, joy will never happen to you by accident. It will happen because you are conscious. It will happen because, like Marcus Aurelius, you get the realization that you need to train and discipline your character. What is your character? I used to teach seminars on this. Your character, we first see it, I can't remember whether it was the 12th century or the 14th century. It first appears in Old English. And it basically means, the translation is an indelible mark or stain upon the soul. Another way to look at it is like a tattoo upon the soul. Something that is so deeply embedded with who we are that it becomes who we are. So the other thing I would teach on character is that character is what we repeatedly do. Simple example, if you steal all the time, you become a thief. If you are honest and tell the truth consistently as much as you can, you become honest. If you lie all the time, you become a liar. So you can see the link between what we do and what we become. If you're active and energetic and look after your body, you become healthy. If you eat terribly and do nothing, you become unhealthy. If you live in victimhood and blame, you become cynical. If you live in acceptance and possibility, you become positive and you become part of the solution. So what Aurelius is telling us here is that your character is not going to happen to you by accident unless you let it happen by accident. Your character is something you can shape by choices and actions and decisions on a daily basis. And as I have preached forever, you will rarely feel like doing it. I said in the podcast version below here, it's the 3 cookie test. 1 cookie is delicious. 2 cookies is pretty delicious still. 3 cookies is probably still delicious, but then it becomes a problem. All right? That if we don't discipline the choices and actions, then they can tend to have negative consequences. But what I love about Marcus Aurelius' simple statement is the realization that he had to train and discipline it. Another way to think about it is if you got a puppy, say something that was likely to grow into something challenging, right? Like a Malamute or a Ridgeback or a Pit Bull or a German Shepherd, and you got that puppy and you never trained or disciplined it once. This thing just went to the toilet wherever it wanted to go. It ate whatever it wanted to eat. You never disciplined it, yelled at it, did anything to do with it. And you wonder why, when this thing gets as big as a house and it's biting your guests and traumatizing people, you're going to be like, I wonder how that happened. This is like a nice puppy. What happened? You didn't train or discipline it, right? There's that old saying, it's attributed to Indian wisdom or this wisdom or that wisdom. The old saying that, the wise chief says a man and a woman has 2 wolves inside them fighting for supremacy. And the young apprentice says, which wolf wins? And the wise chief says, whichever one you feed. I don't know why you'd be feeding wolves in the first place, right? Because I'd be chasing wolves away. But you get the point, that it is the impulses and the actions and the attitudes that we feed that become our character. You have no idea how hard I've had to work on this over the years. I went to church this morning and I sit there. I got to discipline my mind because my mind's like, ooh, rabbit trail, ooh, rabbit, 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 rabbit. I'm like an old hound dog. It's like rabbit, rabbit. And I've learned, my journey with depression many years ago, and by the grace of God, I don't suffer with it at all anymore, was, thoughts would come into my head and I would just go down the rabbit trail, completely agreeing with whatever negative, toxic thing I was thinking. I had to learn to train and discipline my mind. I'm still doing it. I think I'll be doing it till the day I die. So that is the insight from Marcus Aurelius today. Train and discipline, or at least wake up to the idea that you have to train and discipline your character. It is going to happen to you today. You are going to be tempted to look at something, read something, waste time on something, criticize somebody, eat the wrong things, avoid exercise, gossip about somebody. Is all going to be there for you to do or not do. And you got to train and discipline it. Your life could be extraordinary. I just want to keep banging away at an extraordinary life. With all my failures and inconsistencies, at least I'm trying to move forward, and I want you to come with me. That's it. Do a couple of things. Would you subscribe for me, please? Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. Check out the links here. Podcast version. Get my free book. Book me to speak. I'm back on the circuit. Can you imagine me live at your business, school, church, business organisation? Imagine me just getting loose up there on a topic of your choosing. Potential, how to help people grow, fixing systems, positive cultures. Dangerous. All right, God bless you. My name's Jonathan Doyle. This has been the Daily Message, and guess what? You and I are going to work on our characters, and tomorrow you and I, we're going to talk again tomorrow.